Hello, humans. Welcome to the Cartridge and Disc Podcast. This is your Gen X Gamer here. Well. It's lunchtime, and we got a couple of things going here. One of them is Microsoft just won. That's right. Microsoft just beat the FTC, and they beat Sony in their claims, and they can go ahead and move with a deal with Activision. The biggest, and I mean the biggest acquisition of all time is going down. They just didn't have a strong case. They never did, right? Everything that the FTC was claiming Microsoft wanted to do in some form or another, Sony had already done it, right? And they were basically the FTC and Sony were teaming up against Microsoft, and they're not even the market leader, right? That's generally, you guys can go read the opinion, but just in the simplest terms, they just didn't have enough. There wasn't enough there to support all the claims that the FTC was making, especially with those 10-year contracts being signed and having Call of Duty also available on the next generation of Switch. Just what they were claiming didn't hold weight. So it's been a great day for Microsoft all around. The FTC still has the opportunity to appeal if they want to, right? If they want to appeal the decision, but it'd be pretty hard, At this point, it's a slam dunk. They should be able to close this out here pretty soon. So overall, it was a great day for Microsoft. They had their ID event today, and I was listening to it, and there's a couple of things, made a few notes of a couple of games that I found interesting. Right. First of all, I like the way Hellboy looked. I like the combat. It looks pretty interesting. It's a little early, but interesting, right? The other one was, I believe it's called Everspace 2. I like that flying combat type stuff. That's right up my alley. Arcade type. And I think they even mentioned it on the little trailer that they had that was arcade style combat. So that's something I'd love to check out. Once again, we saw Sea of Stars, the RPG. That looks pretty cool, pretty simple. It's a throwback to the old RPGs. I want to see what they're going to do with that. I really am curious about that game and what they're going to do with it and how big that game is going to be overall. All right, what's next? MythForce. That's right, MythForce. The Saturday morning cartoon looking game. It reminds me of He-Man. It reminds me of Thundercats, that type of stuff. Looks pretty cool, man. I can't wait to play that game. That is something that for sure I'm going to check out right away. I like that style of graphics. It's my bag, as they say. Next, Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors with the co-op. They were even showing it off. 4-player co-op. I think that's pretty cool. I think that should have been the type of games in television should have been looking at, right? That's a game that doesn't require a lot of graphics. Those are the type of games that should have been funding instead of taking the money home. But there was other stuff there that looked really interesting. One of them that really just made me say, wow, was Stray Souls, right? It looks like they have one of the composers from Silent Hill on there. That looked pretty interesting. Absolutely in the horror genre, right? Axiom Verge 2 was on there. It looked okay. I'm not a huge Axiom Verge fan, but it looked pretty retro. It looked pretty right. I will check it out. Another one that looked pretty freaky, also in the horror genre, was Chainsaw Massacre. Chainsaw Massacre looked pretty good. They even showed a piece where the guy's shoving somebody's face into a chainsaw. That was pretty cool, Again, that's something I'll have to check out, if not just enjoy the gameplay. Looked pretty hilarious. Challengers Games, that looked okay, but the one that really surprised me was Karateka. the old school game. I don't know if it's just for the documentary. That's the only part that I didn't catch. If it's the actual game they're going to re-release, or is it just going to be the documentary? I don't know. But that was a game that was well ahead of its time. Well ahead of its time. And it's pretty cool seeing that they're going to pay an homage to the past, right? I like seeing that. I like having unique entertainment that you can have on a different platform, especially when it comes to retro. We've been talking about game preservation and all that stuff. So it was pretty nice to see that they were paying homage to the old school. But overall, guys, this is a historic day for sure. This is the day that Microsoft completed the biggest transaction in gaming history as far as one company buying another, right? One company buying another. And I'm telling you, the future is bright. I think that Microsoft is going to do well with this company. I think they're going to do well with these franchises because they have to. Excluding, Call of Duty, of course, they should have some exclusive content with the other properties of Activision, And also, Diablo probably is not going to see anything for another 5 to 10 years. But they can create exclusive content now for themselves, right? For themselves, that they can feature in their own stores, that they can feature in their own products. But ultimately, I think it's all going to be about this service. Like I told you before, Microsoft doesn't really care about the console wars. I don't think that's their focus. Microsoft's competition is not PlayStation and it's not Nintendo. Their competition is Amazon, it's Google. That's what they're looking at. And if they're able to offer the Xbox Game Pass in multiple different platforms, because right now you can play it. You can play the Xbox Game Pass, you can play cloud gaming with a backbone, of course. And it's a pretty good experience, let me tell you, if you have a good enough connection. But they want to get into everything. They want to get into other realms, into other platforms. They want to, evolve as a company, and what that evolution is going to entail, well, we don't know. We don't know yet. But I'm sure it's going to come a time where, all we're going to need is the Xbox controller, because the cloud gaming is going to be so strong that all you have to do is plug and play, and they're going to be everywhere. You're going to be able to control your games with your phone, with just a controller, with your PC, and that's their end game, to be in as many hands and as many people as possible. And I think the next step for them is to develop a strong gaming platform on cell. I think that's going to be their next target. But we'll see. It was a great day for Microsoft, and let's see what happens. Competition can only get better from here. This kind of competition will make Microsoft better. It'll make the Xbox better, and it will make also the PlayStation better, right? Because competition breeds innovation. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.